Hello everybody and welcome to the Pretty Good Gaming Podcast episode number 83. Hello a croeso I podcast Steve 83. My name is Mr. Gareth Evans. Joining me today is Mr. Henry, host of the year, Cooper.
Host of the year? What's this about?
Am
I winning an award?
We're dishing out awards today. So you get the host of the year.
I'm not nominated for content creator of the year, and it's a fucking travesty. It's a travesty.
We'll get to that. We are going to be talking about the nominees for the Game Awards this year. For anybody who gives a flying hoot, that is. We just think it's fun to talk about games and the best ones of the year.
None of it matters.
None of it matters.
But it's just fun.
Don't get your knickers in a twist over it. God almighty. Anyway, that's something we're going to talk about. We've got a short story on Ubisoft. Just another Ubisoft abuse story. Just another one. Just throw on the pile.
Just doing it again.
We'll be taking some questions from the Discord. We'll be having a quiz of the week, which is going to be Henry's quiz this week. We'll be reading the Triggered Fanboy comment of the week, as well as some other YouTube comments, and then the bad dad joke of the week to finish off. But firstly, Henry, what have you been playing this week? What have you been up to?
Well, I've not been playing that much this week, but all of last week, and I think the bloody week before, I've been playing Assassin's Creed, and fuck a duck, it was just too much. There's a few comments, which I'm sure I'll get to later, where how can you say it's too long? And I'm like, you don't understand, man. When you're trying to play through that many fucking bugs, and I liked the game at first. I even said to you, I messaged you saying, I'm quite impressed. Once I'd only just started. In my impressions video, I was reasonably positive. But then as time goes on, the game doesn't get any better, but all of the bad shit just stays the same or gets worse. So, and I even acknowledged in the video, I was like, this is the fact that I'm playing this for review and I've got to do it in a fixed period of time or whatever. That has probably influenced it. I acknowledge that. But fucking hell, man, it's too long. By the end, I was between 80 and 90 hours, which is main quest and then a few, a healthy bit of side questing, because some side quests take you to entire new areas, which is cool. It's loads of extra content. That's great. But it's still buggy as fuck. And it's too much. Other than that, I've not really played much this week, because I've been taking a bit of time off, I guess, from gaming, mainly to let my girlfriend have the TV for a couple nights for once.
I guess she deserves it once in a while, eh?
She did. She put up with it. But yesterday I've only done the tutorial, but I started Gears Tactics, and it's exactly the kind of game I want it to be.
Sweet.
But I haven't played much of it, really, so I can't really tell you. You've played it anyway, so we've talked about it.
I played some of it. Gears Tactics was fun. It's definitely a good strategy game for consoles. I think it's something that consoles are missing, really, is that type of game. And I think Gears is a nice shell to put around this XCOM type formula. And I think it's
absolutely XCOM with a Gears skin. It's virtually exactly the same.
It's very good, and there's some very decent additions to the formula in there, and it mixes it up a little bit. It didn't keep me playing that long. I mean, I just get distracted with things so easily, and my time is, I don't know, it didn't grab me. I'm not a Gears fan anyway. I wouldn't say I'm not a fan. I would say that I'm not invested in the franchise. Saying I'm not a fan is a bit extreme, because I'm not a fan. That makes no sense.
You hate it.
Yeah, it sounds like I don't like it.
You either love it or you hate it.
Yeah, it sounds like I don't like it, but that's not true. I'm just nonplussed. But yeah, it's a good game. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Myself,
I've enjoyed what I've played so far, but I'm very, very early on.
Yeah, I've not been playing much this week outside of Championship Manager 21, so I'm not going to talk about that. It's boring. It's football. It's just me grinding away, trying to win out of being a football manager, and that's not interesting.
Have you put real time into it now after the guy had a go at you about only 30 hours or whatever the fuck?
Yeah. Well, I don't know, 20 hours this last week. It's nothing really for a proper fan. Anyway, let's get on with the topic at hand, which is the Game Awards nominations. So this is the annual awards ceremony, which was established in 2014 and hosted and produced by Jeff Keighley. For those of you who don't know, Jeff Keighley is the face of the gaming industry, as well as the face in a lot of games.
At least he'd have it that way.
Yeah, I mean, he's a friend to all publishers and a face to recognise for all gamers. He's always at E3, well, apart from the time where he didn't go. But then it didn't happen, so it was fine. So Jeff Keighley, he's a big industry ego.
Yeah.
Not ego, that's a bit harsh, I guess. But he's a ex-journalist, but he's now a big player in the industry.
Yeah, he's just like a personality. If there's a presentation, he'll be probably doing it. If it's a big sort of event, he'll probably be there covering it.
So this year's Game Awards are happening on December the 10th. What happens on December the 10th, Henry? What's due on December the 10th?
It used to be the Medium, which is one of Microsoft's only sort of semi-exclusives. Is that the game you're talking about?
No, what else has happened?
The Medium was supposed to be coming out on the 10th.
No,
on
something
Xbox
more
Series
important
X,
than
they
that.
pushed it.
More important than
that. More important.
What is it?
Well, you can't possibly be talking about your birthday as the most important
That's
thing.
exactly
Definitely something that's
that is
much
exactly
more
what I was talking about, Henry. Forget all these games, like one in particular, Cyberpunk. It's like, who cares about that? Who cares about Cyberpunk when it's my birthday and the Game Awards?
That's assuming it actually fucking comes out.
Yeah.
No one's going to watch the Game Awards because they're going to be playing Cyberpunk brackets if it actually comes out.
Well, we'll see. We'll be celebrating my birthday, obviously, because that's a date you won't forget in a hurry. My birthday, by the way, my 40th. I'm 40 on that day. It's a lot happening on that day. Like the world's going to end or something. Anyway, let's get on with the topic. Game of the year is the big one, right? Game of the year. Everyone wants to win the best game of this year, and the nominees this year. And Henry, you're going to have to pick out a winner for us, right? Out of this bunch, it's Animal Crossing: New Horizons, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII The Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and Last of Us Part 2. And there's only one on that list that you haven't played, which is Animal Crossing.
Yeah, technically, well, I own all of them. I've just not played Animal Crossing because I bought it for my girlfriend. I have no intention of playing it. It's not my sort of thing. I'm just not going to waste my time playing a game I know I'm not going to like.
So therefore,
all the others,
you are in the best position to give us the winner. So get your betting slips out. Henry's going to tell you right now who the winner of the Game of the Year is.
My winner is different. Well, my choice would be different to what I expect to win. They're going to be the two kind of binaries in this. I would vote for, and I've said this many, many times, it shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone, Doom Eternal. It's really fucking good at what it wants to do. It's not this greatest innovation ever. It's if anything, it's back to basics of just being a really solid as fuck shooting game.
Yeah.
And it does exactly what it says on the tin, and for that reason it's my Game of the Year, and that's the end of it.
Okay. So but what will the voters, because this is voted for by 90 plus journalists, gaming news outlets, right, reviewers, and then 10% of the vote gets done by the viewer, by you and me, basically the gamers. So there's a huge proportion of the weight goes to games journalists. So what in the view of games journalists, like 90% of the vote goes to them, what are they going to choose?
Not a single doubt in my mind it's going to be The Last of Us 2.
Yeah, you know it is, don't you?
Not a single doubt in my mind. And the thing is, because it's such a controversial game, there's going to be people who swarm to vote for literally anything other than that in every category. Whether or not they've played the game doesn't matter. They're going to vote for things that aren't The Last of Us.
Yeah. And
same goes for the people who absolutely love it and are diehard fans who rush to give it, 10s out of 10s on Metacritic before they played it. They're going to vote for it for every single category.
Yeah.
So it's going to be the most controversial Game Awards, because no matter where The Last of Us succeeds, like whether it wins or loses, people are going to be upset. But that's why I like the Game Awards, because it's everyone's reaction. No one's fucking happy. Everyone's mad, and it's brilliant. And we're just sitting here like, oh, it's the games industry thanking itself and patting itself on the back for having a good year.
Exactly.
But I like celebrating games, so I quite like it. But it doesn't matter who wins or loses.
I mean, Last of Us 2 is going to sweep up this year. That's my
100%.
That's my guess. The top. I'm just glancing at the top 6. The first 6 categories here, and Last of Us Part 2 is in all of them. And it's one of those games where, it's super divisive. A lot of people hate it for very specific reasons. However, if you're a games journalist, you're not allowed to dislike it for those reasons. You're just not allowed, because your peer group won't let you dislike this game for the reasons we dislike it, because it's not intelligent enough. It's not like it's not highbrow enough to dislike the game for forcing us to play as this. If you're a games journalist, you've got to think higher than that. You've got to be above everybody else. You've got to think about what they're trying to do with the game. You've got to think about the story they're trying to tell. And I think that's the reason why everyone will vote for Last of Us Part 2, because they're in a league of their own, of these games journalists, and they know better than us, which is why The Last of Us 2 will make Game of the Year. I'd put good money on it.
100% is going to win.
All right.
And I get the game. I get what they're trying to do. I just still didn't. Well, no, I like the game on balance.
I disliked playing it. I loved playing half of it, and I disliked playing half of it. How can it be Game of the Year if you actively dislike? I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to carry on playing, but I felt compelled to, due to I wanted to know how it finished because it's being talked about by everyone. I needed an opinion on this game, so I forced myself through it. That isn't an enjoyable experience. If it's not an enjoyable experience, how can it be the best game? Yep. It's not.
Yep, totally. Right, well, let's move on from that controversial category to go to the next, probably equally controversial category.
Hold your horses just a second. From last year, by the way, for those of you wondering what won it last year, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice won Game of the Year last year, and that was with...
Again, another favourite from the journalists. The journalists loved... Well, gamers loved it too, obviously, but...
Yeah. That was in the...
It's an unsurprising win, is what I'm trying to say.
In the category with Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and The Outer Worlds. So there you go. Tell us what you think is going to win this Game of the Year down in the comments, I guess. So next up...
If you don't think it's Last of Us, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Like if you may want something else to win, but Last of Us is going to win.
Yeah.
So next one is game direction. So Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, and, once again, The Last of Us Part 2.
Well, there we go. Okay, so what is...
Again, Last of Us is going to win.
No, yeah, we know that, but what do you want to win? Because you've played all of them other than Half-Life Alyx, right?
So, in terms of direction, this is just as subjective as any other category, really, but like, if we're talking about like camera angles and cinematography, that kind of direction, The Last of Us should deservedly win, because basically the film's a movie. There's so many cutscenes. It's one of the best kind of games in terms of like production value, you know what I mean? Like voice acting and sound, all of those little things coming together really, really well.
The film is a
story
movie,
and all that shit. It's nowhere near as good. Yeah, it's basically a movie. So for that reason, I'd probably give it to something like The Last of Us. But then Ghost of Tsushima, having that, it's got such an incredible sense of style in the way it tells its story that is unlike anything else, because that's quite a cinematic game. But with all the leaves blowing and the wind that guides you, that from that perspective direction, I'd give it to Ghost of Tsushima, because it's The Last of Us Part 2 is just a prettier, better looking version on a technical level than like 100 other games, like even The Last of Us 1. Whereas Ghost of Tsushima, there's nothing that quite looks like that. Even similar sort of Japanese-esque games, none of them quite look like that.
I think we're bordering on the category of best art direction, which is coming up. But I think that, you know, for the reasons you just said, and I think we can all guess what we think is going to win that. But in terms of game direction, like the way it's directed and the way this story's told, I guess, Last of Us Part 2 has got to get it. Last year, Death Stranding won it. And that was a big surprise out of nowhere. That came out with the blue, since Jeff Keighley actually stars in that bloody game. And that won it from Control, Resident Evil 2, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, and The Outer Wilds. So again, another second place for Control, I guess. So I think I'm just looking at the games which were played second fiddle to all the other games, right? Control kind of lost out on a lot of them last year. And I think Ghost of Tsushima might play second fiddle to The Last of Us 2 this year. If Last of Us 2 wasn't around, I think Ghost of Tsushima would do better. But that's our pick for best game direction. Next up, best narrative. So the category includes 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. Don't even know what that one is.
Absolutely no idea.
Next up, Final Fantasy VII Remake again, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades again, and Last of Us Part 2. Almost said 3 there. What do you reckon for best narrative, Henry?
The critics vote, it's going to be Last of Us again. It's going to sweep. It's going to clean up. I mean, but you could quite easily make a case for Final Fantasy VII Remake, just because the original is so popular. But what I think you've got to remember is it's only that part. Like, the whole game. If the whole game was out, then it could probably be a contender for best narrative because it's got a really great narrative. But it's like, I don't think that should be there because it's like one part of a much larger game. You know what I mean? Like it's not the whole thing. So I don't think that should be there for best narrative. So, I'd probably give it to Ghost because I just think it's very simple in its ideas, but I think it just does it really well. Not unlike Doom. Yeah,
I mean the black sheep here is 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, which is the I don't even know what this game is. It's a Japanese game by the looks of it. Adventure, real-time strategy, single-player game, cross-genre video game developed by Vanillaware. This is the black sheep for the reasons that Disco Elysium won it last year, which was the indie game, right? That won best narrative, and it beat out Outer Worlds, Death Stranding, Control, A Plague Tale, Innocence. So there were some big players there, and I don't know, having never played 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim or heard of it even, maybe that's just going to sweep it just because people like to choose independent games, and I know these games journalists do. However, if I was a betting man, Hades is all right. I mean, the narrative isn't the main part of that game. It's the gameplay for Hades, right? That defines it. The Last of Us Part 2,
because it's a bloody roguelite. Everyone fucking loves roguelites now. And before you get on your fucking high horse, we both really like Hades. We've done 2 podcasts all about it. So if this is your first one, don't be a little bitch about it.
High horse.
But yeah, Last of Us is going to win, although I'd probably give it to Ghost.
Well, can you imagine how Neil Druckmann would react if he didn't win it when his best mate is dishing out the awards? Do you know what I mean?
He might quit. He'll quit gaming and just go do something else.
Yeah, there you go. I mean,
I'm sure many people would be happy about.
Best narrative. I don't know what the criteria is, but I know there's a bunch of a bunch of journalists voting, so it's got to be The Last of Us.
Well, the thing is, in terms of pure quality, I'm not just saying that I dislike The Last of Us's narrative. I think it's very poorly structured. I think the fact that you play literally half of it as Ellie, and then there's this huge break put on the story, and then you go, spoilers for anyone who hasn't played it, obviously. Okay, now you've had your time to leave. You then switch characters, and you go back to where you were. I get reliving the things from their perspective. All that's actually kind of an interesting idea, but I feel like in its execution it's very poor because it just takes you out of it and it fractures it. I feel like if you maybe did one chapter, then one chapter, then one chapter, then one chapter, that could have been better, or you worked together throughout the game and then you slowly learn things. I feel like there's a better way to tell this kind of story. So for best narrative on those grounds, I don't think it deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. There's a better way to do it in a game, that's for sure. There's a better experience to be had as a gamer if you do the narrative differently. However, this game is just going to be judged based on
the
narrative and what games journalist worth his salt. Like, how shunned would he be in his social circle if he didn't vote for Last of Us Part 2 for the best narrative? That would be a social suicide. That would be. So Last of Us Part 2 is a shoo-in, that's for sure. Let's move on to the next category. And do you want to read them out now, Henry?
Yeah, so this one is Best Arts Direction. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, a nice little shout there, and once again, The Last of Us Part 2 for art direction.
Art direction.
It looks great, and I feel like, okay, on pure realism, fine, yeah, cool, I guess that's a valid reason. But as I said earlier, touched on with whatever the direction, it looks like a bunch of other things, just like a better version of it. I think art direction should go to Hades, because nothing looks like Hades, and it's so striking, and that's one of the reasons I really wanted to play it. It looks awesome.
You wouldn't say Ghost of Tsushima?
No, see, Ghost is a close second, but I think a lot of what I like about Ghost isn't so much what I would call art direction. It's direction in general.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean?
Got you.
Like what I meant with like the wind and the leaves and shit. That's partially art, certainly, but I think Hades, just on art, it's just second to none this year.
Okay, a bit of a background, I guess. The winner last year was Control, And that beat
That's fair.
And that beat out Death Stranding, Gris, Sayonara Wild Hearts, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, and The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, the remake. So
I think that's fair for last year.
I guess Control. There you go. I would put my money on Ghost of Tsushima, just because of the style of it.
Totally valid.
That's where I'd put my money if I was a betting man.
I'd be happy if that one.
Yeah, there you go. So next up is the best score and music, and the nominees are Doom Eternal, which is Mick Gordon, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Nobu Uematsu, oh god, I should never have started reading these, Masaki Hamauzu and Mitsuto Suzuki, and then Hades, Darren Korb, Ori Will and the Wisps, Gareth Cocker, yeah, that's right, The Last of Us Part 2, Gustavo Olala, and Mac Quayle. Doom, Final Fantasy, Hades, Ori, or Last of Us. What's going to win, Henry?
What's going to win?
What is going to win?
It's probably going to be fucking Last of Us again, isn't it? Yeah. But I'm a little bit more torn on this one because I think Doom... I love the original, Doom 2016 soundtrack. I love Doom Eternal soundtrack. But I'd probably actually give it to Final Fantasy VII Remake because I played the original this year in the lead up to the remake, then played the remake. And there's so many really nice reimaginings of old songs, but then a bunch of different versions. There's loads of versions of the same battle theme and all of those little things that everyone knows, even if you don't play the games that you've probably heard somewhere. There's updated versions of that, and I really, really enjoyed that. I thought that was really cool. So I'd probably give it to that, even though I've just criticised it earlier for only being a part of a game.
Yeah.
But we're not looking at the whole narrative, but we can look at the whole, most of the soundtrack.
I think, and I want Last of Us Part 2 to win, because regardless of how you feel about the game and how you feel about the narrative and the choices made by the designers, I think that the music itself, this award goes to the musicians, and I think that Gustavo Santaolalla, I think they did a great job on the they did. on the soundtrack for Last of Us Part 2, and I really, really enjoy it. I like that kind of gruff acoustic style. That's me. All Nolan, and I like Ali playing and singing. I love it. I absolutely love it. I love everything about that. And I suppose that'd be my pick.
With The Last of Us's music as well, it's quite important to the core of the game as well.
Yeah,
is it the Pearl Jam song that they sing throughout that kind of ties Ellie and Joel together throughout the whole game. That's really great. I think all of these in this category are... I've not played Ori, so I can't really speak to that, but all of them are... They should be there. I think they're solid noms, but I think I'd still give it to Final Fantasy.
Last year, the winner was Death Stranding last year. Beat out A Cadence of Hyrule, Devil May Cry 5, Kingdom Hearts 3, and Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Yeah, it's because Kojima just got all of his mates in to record songs. He's got loads of licensed music in there.
There you go. Next up is the best audio design. The design of the audio itself is important, but the design of the audio is important too. So here we've got this Doom Eternal, Half-Life Alyx, Ghost of Tsushima, Resident Evil 3, and Last of Us Part 2. And I don't even know what they're scoring this on, let's be honest. Let's design the audio now. I don't know. It's just a made up.
I'm not really sure I could explain it, but I think I get it, but I couldn't really explain it. But I'd give it to Ghost.
Yeah.
Because it sounds... It's going to sound really dumb, but it sounds Japanese.
It sounds Japanese, doesn't it, mate?
Well, it's all with swords clanging and the wind blowing and I can't remember what it's called, but their flute thing,
right?
The instrument, all that shit. It's not so much music as it is kind of ambience and stuff.
Well, last year Call of Duty Modern Warfare won, so that beat Control, Death Stranding, Gears 5, Resident Evil 2, and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. So you don't really have to. I mean, what does that say? I don't know. This is a made up. This is a game of the year. This is a made up.
It's all bullshit. It's all made up.
Audio design. I mean, I guess there are audio engineers who put a lot of work into the sound effects and stuff. I guess they deserve recognition. My money would be on Last of Us 2. I have not played enough of these games. Let's be honest. I don't really have an opinion. My opinion isn't valid. Let's move on.
Best performance. I mean, this is an obvious one as well. Ashley Johnson as Ellie for The Last of Us Part 2. Laura Bailey as Abby in The Last of Us Part 2. Daisuke Tsuchi as Jin Sakai in Ghost of Tsushima. Logan Cunningham as Hades in Hades, not Zagreus, who's the playable character. Hades, who's your dad and the villain.
Yeah.
And Nanji Jeter as Miles Morales in Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. I think that's a bit of a cheeky inclusion because that literally just came out.
That is cheeky.
Maybe it made the cut-off because games like Cyberpunk aren't out yet, so that obviously won't qualify or anything like that. This should undisputedly go to Ashley Johnson as Ellie.
Yeah, again,
as in my vote, and the critic will probably pick that. Like, I don't think there's any question that she should win it.
I mean, regardless of your feelings on the game itself, Ashley Johnson plays a good Ellie, and
Laura Bailey does a great Abby, but Ashley Johnson's Ellie is just she's a step above.
There's a lot of good talent in this category. Remember, we're rewarding the actors themselves, not the producers of the game. So feel like how you want about the producers. Yeah. These are the actors that deserve the recognition here. Last year, Mads Mikkelsen won in Death Stranding. He beat out Ashley Birch again. Oh, no, Ashley Birch is I'm getting confused between Laura Bailey and Ashley Birch, which I always do. Courtney Hope,
Ashley Birch, is she the Horizon girl?
Yeah. I always get confused between the two. And Laura Bailey was nominated last year too for Kate Diaz for Gears 5.
Yeah.
Matthew Perretta, they play too many roles. That's why they're on all the games, aren't they? That's the
it's the same one. There's no fucking no Troy Baker this year for once.
No,
so that's probably a good thing.
Matthew Perretta. Spoilers, but that's only because he's only in it for 5 minutes. Matthew Perretta for Control, Dr. Casper Darling, Norman Reedus, Sam Porty Bridges, Death Stranding. Those were the category last year, won by Mads Mikkelsen, as I said. So next, is it me reading now?
I believe so.
Games for Impact. I don't even know what this means. So the nominees are If Found, Kentucky Road Zero TV edition, Spiritfarer, Don't Tell Me Why, and Through the Darkest of Times. On
their website, the Games for Impact little brief descriptor is for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. So it makes you feel nice.
All right.
Funny that they didn't put The Last of Us 2 in there.
That doesn't make you feel nice, though, does it?
Yeah, that's true. It's not very pro-social. It's this is going to make you feel like shit.
Yeah.
There's a big impact, I guess.
Yeah, not very qualified for the answer to this. You tell us down in the comments. Last year, the winner was Gris, and that beat out Concrete Genie, Canned Words, Life is Strange 2, and Sea of Solitude. So, I don't know if you've got any thoughts. I've not played
any of those, so I can't really contribute, I'm afraid.
All right, let's move on.
Okay, best ongoing game. So this is like your games as a service type things that came out before, and they can stand to win every year pretty much. So Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Call of Duty Warzone, Fortnite, and No Man's Sky. Now, really it's between two, Fortnite and No Man's Sky. Fortnite because whether you like the game or not, I certainly don't play it, but that's the blueprint for what you should be trying to do for any kind of multiplayer games as a service thing, for in terms of like how to keep updating your game, keep people playing. It's still, the biggest game on the planet pretty much.
Yeah.
All those collaborations with like with Marvel and Disney and stuff, all that's keeping it super relevant, which is great. Don't like the game, don't play the game, but then No Man's Sky, which has completely reinvented itself and keeps bringing out new content updates. So I kind of feel like I would give it to No Man's Sky. Again, it's not a game that I play.
Yeah, well, Fortnite.
So perhaps it's not fair for me to make that judgment. But
Fortnite won last year, and it beat out Apex, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, and Rainbow Six Siege. So there's a couple of games that are there, year on year. Apex, Destiny, Fortnite.
Yeah.
But we've got Warzone this time and No Man's Sky in there too. I guess No Man's Sky can deserve the credit that they're getting. Hello Games, that is. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if Fortnite took it.
Nope.
As always.
I wouldn't be mad if Fortnite won, but
yeah,
because they have done good things.
Okay, next up, Best Indie. Now, we've got a category which includes Carrion. Sorry.
I'd say Carrion.
Fall Guys, Ultimate Knockout, Hades, Spelunky 2, and Spiritfarer. Now, Fall Guys is an absolute sensation on.
It's incredible.
Everybody is playing Fall Guys. So, I mean, Carrion we've played, Hades we've played, Spelunky 2, not really got around to that yet. I'm waiting for it on the Switch. But I do like this category. What would you say? I mean, I say Hades, right?
I'd say Hades.
You got
Carrion. I really like Carrion, but there's not that much to it. But again, it's good at what it does, being like it delivers on the premise of being a monster and eating people. Like, that's great. But I think Hades, there's so much. It ticks so many more boxes. You know what I mean? And Fall Guys is great, but I think it's more deserving in other categories because it comes up a little bit later. So I think Hades is best indie game.
Yeah,
easily.
Fresh indie game last year was Disco Elysium.
Fucking fresh
indie game.
Sponsored by Subway. So, are you a really good, hardworking little indie studio? Awesome. Okay, let us stick this massive corporate logo on your thing and take away all of the attention. Yeah. It's the most ironically corporate bullshit thing ever, done without any sense of self-awareness.
Absolutely. It beat Gris, Outer Wilds, Slay the Spire, Entitled Goose Game, and My Friend Pedro. Our money there is on Hades for our choice, and the...
I could very easily see Hades winning or Fall Guys, because Fall Guys is such a sensation.
Well, there you go. It's popular, that's for sure. Let's move on.
Okay, next up is Best Mobile.
Should we just move over this one?
I mean... Among Us, Call of Duty Mobile, Genshin Impact, Legends of Runeterra, and Pokemon Cafe.
Are these even games, man?
I mean, actually play.
Is it a mobile game even a game?
Like, everyone loves Among Us at the moment, and I keep meaning to play it with like my pals, but I haven't yet, so I can't comment on that one, I'm afraid. But I guess we'll just move on to the next one.
Among Us would do it, I think, because again, it's another huge bigger than Fall Guys, but I would say right now.
There's quite a bit of criticism coming at Among Us because it actually came out like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But now it's getting
popular.
this huge groundswell. So perhaps it's better suited, and I do agree that it should go in Best Ongoing rather than...
True. Absolutely.
I don't know if the mobile version just came out this year, so maybe that could qualify it.
That's true.
But so there's kind of controversy around that.
Yeah, let's move on. Best Community Support: Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Fall Guys, Fortnite, No Man's Sky, or Valorant. Again, not games that we're particularly familiar with, so take your pick, I guess.
I think it should go to Fall Guys because their social media people are like, they're just on it. They're on it with like meme culture without being super fucking cringy like so many like corporations are. So I think that's a solid shout.
And next up, a category which we do give a fuck about, right?
Yeah, this is an important one, and I'm glad it's becoming a thing. Innovation in accessibility. So it's all about making games playable for the most people, like just irregardless of whether or not you've got various kind of disabilities or anything like that. All of these games actually do good things. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Grounded, Hyperdot, The Last of Us Part 2, and Watch Dogs Legion. For all of my complaints for both Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs that I've shared over the past few weeks, they both do have decent accessibility options. Before you even get to the game, there's like a few pages of like checking subtitles and colorblind modes, simple things like that that people really appreciate. For me personally, I love subtitles options because I like, from where I sit with my TV, I can barely read half of them, so I always try and make them as big as possible so I can read it. But the winner for this should go to The Last of Us, realistically, because everything they've done in that game is brilliant. Half of those accessibility features are really good just as a player, like without any difficulties or disabilities, like the ability to automatically pick stuff up when you walk past it instead of having to press triangle. Or like one I like was an arrow that points to where the speaker is, so if you can't see who's speaking, there'll be an arrow so you can turn and go chat to them and do a prompt or whatever.
The Last of Us Part 2 would be my pick too, but then again, I haven't played a lot of the Ubisoft games or any of the other Grounded or Hyperdot, so take your pick again down in the description, in the comments. So, best AR VR. Does there need to be a category of this? Can we just give it to Half-Life, Alex, already?
Realistically.
Well, I'll read out the other ones anyway. We've got Dreams by Media Molecule, Half-Life Alex, which is the big all-singing, all-dancing AAA VR game of the year. Marvel's Iron Man VR, Star Wars Squadrons. That's got a bit of a shout as well. The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners by Skydance Interactive. I'm sure all these games are really good because these experiences.
They are quite well reviewed. But yeah, I've not played any of them. I'm afraid in VR, so I would probably bet on Half-Life Alyx.
Bet on that.
Taking that with no contenders.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, next is we're getting into the more genre stuff now.
Yeah.
Best action game. Doom Eternal, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, Neo 2, so a good little shout from them, representing, and Streets of Rage 4. This shouldn't come as a surprise based on my actual game of the year, but Doom Eternal.
Doom Eternal is your game.
Best action game, closely followed by Hades as a solid action game, but in terms of raw action and, balls to the wall, chainsawing through demons and pure, testosterone-fueled violence, Doom scratches that itch.
Well, Sekiro won it last year, beat out Borderlands 3, Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2, and Link's Awakening. I mean, any of those could win it, I guess. I mean, I would probably like Hades to win it.
I'd be happy if Hades won.
I'd be happy, yeah. I mean, I'm happy.
I think
with
Doom
them,
will probably get it. Half-Life might get it on it from like the critic side, but I don't think enough people will have played it because not enough people have VR systems to be able to qualify it. But it's even good that it's got a nom and it's a VR game hanging with
exactly. That's true.
The best action games of the year.
I just realised that I read out the wrong nominations from last year because there's not just an action genre, there's an action adventure genre, and that's what I read out, which was Sekiro. Was like Devil May Cry won the action game last year, but anyway, now we're moving on to the action adventure game, and a nomination.
Is different.
It's just completely different, man. You're so
fair, there is a different list of games. They're like totally different.
You're so stupid to even confuse the two. Anyway, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is an action-adventure game. It's not bloody action. What are you talking about? Ghost of Tsushima, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Jedi Fallen Order, and Last of Us Part 2.
Jedi Fallen Order is
best game out of
I'm
that.
glad it did get something because a lot of people really like it. I personally am not as keen as a lot of people, but it came out after the awards season kind of cut off last time, so it has to qualify for this one. But I feel like a lot of people will have forgotten about it. Be like, oh yeah, Jedi Fallen Order. So I'm glad it's there, although I wouldn't vote for it. For me, it's undeniably Ghost of Tsushima. The fact Assassin's Creed Valhalla is there, get in the fucking bin. It's not best action adventure game of the year. Eat my dick.
Well, it's always going to be whatever wins game of the year out of Ghost of Tsushima or Last of Us Part 2. It's whatever that wins game of the year is going to be best action adventure game. How can a game win game of the year and not win the best in its category? That wouldn't make any sense. And last year, Sekiro won the best action adventure and the game of the year. So that kind of follows through.
You default to winning that, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, you can't win the best game overall, but not the best game in your category. That makes no sense at all. So I would say, going by the journalists, Last of Us Part 2 is going to win that.
Okay, next up is Best Role-Playing, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Genshin Impact, Persona 5 Royale, Wasteland 3, and Yakuza Like a Dragon. I've only played one of those, and that is Final Fantasy VII Remake, so that would be my vote. And it is a good RPG.
Role-playing. I mean, Disco Elysium won that last year, which was, the narrative-driven indie game.
Yeah.
I think I would give it to Wasteland 3, just because I like that series. Not that I've played much of it, but I think that as far as role playing goes, I think that would be the best fit for the category. I think personally. But anyway, what do I know? I know
totally
fuck all.
fair. I've not played enough of those ones, so it's hard to really comment on. And same goes for this next category.
Yeah, best fighting game. So, Grand Blue Fantasy versus Mortal Kombat 11. Ultimate, Street Fighter 5 Champion Edition, One Punch Man, a hero nobody knows, and Under Night in Birth, XE, late. Do I even pronounce that? CLR.
I'd just give up.
Under the Night in Birth, XE. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
I
don't know. Nobody knows.
I think I've played Mortal Kombat 11. But it wasn't like the Ultimate Edition, because I think actual Mortal Kombat 11 came out a couple of years ago, right? Or last year. So now this is like the Game of the Year edition where they get all the DLC and shit. Well, I'll definitely give it to Mortal Kombat 11 just because I think it's really funny that they're putting Terminator and RoboCop and Rambo in it. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we'll do MK11.
The most superficial reason ever, but Mortal Kombat wins. Yep. Let's move on.
Next one is Best Family Game, and unsurprisingly, Nintendo is dominating this category. Mm-hmm. Animal Crossing New Horizons, Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, Minecraft Dungeons, and Paper Mario The Origami King. So what, Nintendo has 3 of those, I think? Animal Crossing, Mario Kart, and Paper Mario. Yeah. I mean,
is this best game to play as a family or best game to play just for kids? Is that?
Yeah, exactly. So that's a slightly different distinction because Animal Crossing isn't so much of a good family game as like a multiplayer together sitting on the sofa type thing as something like Fall Guys would be in that regard, but Fall Guys doesn't have local multiplayer yet, which it really fucking needs, and once it does, it's going to get way better.
Yeah, so I mean, but it's difficult to choose.
It's weird that Animal Crossing isn't nominated for... Was Animal Crossing nominated for Game of the Year? Because... No, it wasn't. I feel like it kind of should get the nom because it's been such a wildly popular game, especially for like lockdown and stuff. Yeah, if it had to come out in any other year, it probably wouldn't have done quite as well. So I feel like that's relevant. So because of that, I'll give it to Animal Crossing. Why not?
There you go. Why not? Next up, my category: best sim/strategy game. So we've got Crusader Kings 3, Desperados 3, Gears Tactics, Microsoft Flight Simulator, and XCOM Chimera Squad. The winner for this, having played, I guess, some of these, Crusader Kings 3 for me, all day, every day. I'll play that game for days and not even think about the rest of my life. Desperados 3 is a good game that I really haven't gotten into. I haven't really tried it yet, sorry. But I don't know, there's just something about it. It reminds me too much of, what was the name? I can't even remember the name of the game. Gears Tactics didn't compel me. Flight Simulators 2, I mean, it looks wonderful. People love that. Maybe that's going to get it because of its fidelity to the real world, because it's got all the airports and all the world and the whole world in it, and it all looks beautiful. So maybe they'll give it. Maybe the people will give it to that. But then there's another XCOM Chimera Squad spin-off thing. I'm just going to go for Crusader Kings 3. I don't know what's going to win though.
Yeah, I'd probably say Microsoft Flight Sim will win, as you say, because it's so realistic and it's a very high fidelity as for being a simulator. That's what you want. But I mean, I've only played Gears Tactics, so that would take my vote by default. But just as a quick note, I'm pretty sure I saw yesterday Crusader Kings 3 has just passed like 1 million sales, which is great for them. So that's good news.
It's a great game, and it's a great follow up to the original game too. It adds more and just fleshes out what was already great about the original game, right? And I think that Crusader Kings 3 has realised that specific, potential so well. Is your phone ringing?
No, it's my doorbell.
You got a delivery. Santa's here.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's what I'd say. Anyway, let's move on.
Okay, best sports/racing. In other words, which has the least offensive monetization system? Dirt 5, Formula 1 2020, FIFA 21, NBA 2K 21, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. I've not played a single one of these, but the only one I have considered buying or will consider buying at some point when it's cheaper would be Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, because it's actually meant to be a decent game.
Yeah.
So, Tony Hawk.
Well, last year...
Realistically, it's probably going to be fucking FIFA or something. Well, but then again, I feel even the journalists are turning on FIFA slowly.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't...
Who was it? Who did...
copied and pasted
IGN's
the
amazing... Yeah, copy and paste.
It was IGN, yeah. Last year it was Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, and that beat out FIFA, F1, Pro Evo Soccer, and Dirt Rally 2. So, yeah, I mean...
you could argue that Fall Guys is a sports game because it's like an assault course. It's basically Total Wipeout or Takeshi's Castle. I'd say that's a sport.
Is Takeshi's Castle a sport, Henry?
I'd say so.
Would you?
The whole game,
But you play Quidditch, game. So I guess that
exactly.
Anything's a sport if you want to run around a field with a with a broom between your legs. But if that's a sport,
if it gets your heart rate going
sport.
and it includes a bit of activity, then it should be a sport.
I'm taking your word for it.
Running around as a jelly bean, getting hit by different ice creams and shit in Fall Guys is a sport.
Who am I to disagree? Let's move on. Best debut game. So we've got Carry On from Phobia.
Well, we've missed one.
Oh.
Best multiplayer.
Oh. Okay, we'll come back. You can do that in just a sec. I'll read out the best debut game because I've got everybody's appetite somehow. We've got Carry On, Phobia Game Studios, or Devolver. Devolver's the publisher. Mortal Shell by Cold Symmetry, Playstack. Raji and Ancient Epic, or Nod and Heads Games. We've got Rocky, Polygon Treehouse, CI Games. And Phasmophobia from Kinetic Games. I would say Carry On just by the fact that I've not heard of any others.
Yeah, I'd say Carry On. It's the one I've played. I quite like the look of Raji. It's sort of like an action adventure thing set within like the Hindu religion, which seems really interesting.
Yeah.
Mortal Shell, I feel like might take it because it had a lot of buzz around it before it launched because it's a Souls-like, but from a different company. A lot of people quite like the look of it, but then I think it came out and it didn't do that great. Like when it launched, I don't think it got quite middling reviews, like 6s and 7s. So maybe that won't. I don't know. But I feel like it's the kind of game which is going to have a dedicated fan base. But then Phasmophobia, I didn't know that was a thing until like a week ago, and everyone on bloody Twitter is screaming about it because it's the new bloody horror sensation or whatever. Everyone's literally screaming on Twitch about it. I mean, it's not a game I've played, but that might get it just because it's the thing of the moment, The
hot topic.
So if we quickly jump back to best multiplayer, we've got Animal Crossing, Among Us, which again arguably shouldn't be there because it came out a couple years ago, Call of Duty Warzone, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, and Valorant, or Valorant, however you say it, the Riot Games one, which, I mean, do people still play that? Is that still even a thing? Because it went off with a bit of a bang. A lot of people were playing it, but I haven't heard its name mentioned for months. It's all quiet.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, Among Us, so many people are playing Among Us, and I guess Fall Guys, that I would say it's got
I'd give it to Fall Guys.
Yeah. I'd say my kids are playing Among Us so much. All the YouTubers that they're watching, they're all playing Among Us. So I'm gonna guess Among Us. But there you go. I know nothing. Let's move on. Content Creator of the Year. This is the last one before we go into the esports categories, and this is the most meaningless one. Before the esports, all the esports games are totally. They're not games, the categories. They're totally meaningless in my eyes. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Content Creator of the Year, right? Which this is a Game Awards. Anyway, we've got Alana Pierce, who's now employed officially by Sony Santa Monica, right?
Right, yeah. So, well, she's the one I'd pick anyway because she's the only person of those who I actually know, and I actually do watch quite a bit of her stuff. I think she does good things. She's now
employed.
Been officially employed by Sony Santa Monica as a writer. That's awesome. That's great. Yeah. But there's so many news outlets reporting that's not fucking news. Yeah. She's
kind of a celebrity, as a person, right? She's kind of a celebrity.
But who? As a creator, I like her. I think she does good things, and so I am a fan. Yeah. But how the fuck is that news? She's just a person. If one of us got a job in a proper official AAA developer, no one would give a shit. And I'm not saying I'm jealous of the attention or anything like that, but it's not fucking news. It's not front page news.
Totally jealous, aren't you? Anyway, the other...
I am jealous. I'd love to work at Sony Santa Monica. That would be sweet.
The other nominees, Nick Merckx, Tim the Tapman, J. Ann Lopez, and Valkyrie. Alana Pierce has got... I don't even know the rest.
I've not heard of any of them.
It's a bullshit category anyway, so let's just give it to Alana and just go home. The rest of them, esports game, don't care. Esports athlete, do not care. Esports team, care even less. Esports event, I'm just over it. And esports host, what the... Esports host, man. This is where it gets ridiculous.
Esports is a big thing, and I'm sure a lot of people care about it, and people will probably comment that we're not giving it its fair shake, but we don't give a shit about it, there's nothing we can contribute.
If you're giving the best game of the year a big statue prize, you're also giving a big statue prize thing to a person who just hosts an esports event. Like, what value? How does that diminish the value of the best game of the year award? It totally diminishes the value of it. This is just bullshit. This is just. There's 6 categories here for esports. Is it because esports is so popular by any chance? Is it because they get loads of people watching it because the esports is just so popular by any chance? Is it just lip service to get more people to watch the awards because the esports is so huge? You tell me. I'm not saying it is, but I definitely think it is. I think this is bullshit. I think this is just...
How can you have your best esports game be separate from best multiplayer game? Like, surely every multiplayer game has the capacity to be an esport.
I don't know. I flew off the handle there.
I guess if you're a fan of esports,
totally apologise for
could not care less about it.
We got our opinions, and you just got to live with it. That's
all right. Well, let's rapid fire through them. Best esports game: Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Fortnite, League of Legends, Valorant. Fortnite's going to win. Best esports athlete: Ian Crimson 6 Porter plays Call of Duty. Hio Showmaker Shu plays League of Legends. Kim Canyon Gion Boo plays League of Legends. Anthony Shotzi Cuevas Castro / Call of Duty. Matteo Ziwu Herbo plays CSGO. I mean, he's probably going to go to the fucking League player, whichever one it is. Best esports team: Down One Gaming plays League. Dallas Empire plays COD. San Francisco Shock plays Overwatch. G2 Esports plays League. Team Secret plays Dota. Again, it's probably going to go to a League one, maybe the Call of Duty one. Esports event: Blast Premier, Spring E 2020 European Finals, CSGO. Call of Duty League Championship 2020, IEM Katowice 2020, CSGO. League of Legends World Championship 2020, Overwatch League Grand Finals 2020. I haven't heard of any of these. I have no idea which one's the most popular, but again, it's probably going to be a League one or a Call of Duty one. Oh my god. Esports host. Why do they all have little fucking wanky names in the middle? FA Shogs SJOKZ, right? Deporter, Alex Machine Richardson, Alex Golden Boy Mendez, James Dash Patterson, Jorian Shiva Vander Hagen. I mean, Alex the Machine Richardson, he had a simple enough name. It could be him. Right. Are we done now?
For those of you who are esports fans and know some of these names, which we know none of, just let us know. Let us know which ones you would win. I'm kind of interested, I guess, just for the sake of. I can't even pretend. I'm not interested at all. But I'm sure. I'm sure somebody is. Fine. I'm sure somebody else is who's watching, and they'd like to know what you think. So let's have a conversation down in the comments. Just because we don't give a fuck doesn't mean that you shouldn't. You're perfectly entitled to give a fuck, and you should correct us down in the comments. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I'm going to move on now.
I'm sure a lot of these people earn a whole lot of money, which is all that really matters.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters. That kind of rounds up our Game of the Year awards nominees, and this is going to happen, like I said, December the 10th. There's going to be it's going to be a streaming only event. There's going to be no live audience this time because of the COVID situation. There, I said it, and we'll see if the channel gets deleted or not. So we'll see, and I'll probably revisit it again. And like I said, let us know what you
closer to the time.
I mean, afterwards we'll go through the winners, I guess, and tell you what we think of the shitty. I say shitty. I'm undermining the whole segment now. We've talked about this for like almost an hour, and I'm undermining it all right now. Who gets
this meaningless metal statue? Although, to be fair to them, it's quite a cool statue in terms of like awards. It's quite a cool looking one.
It is, but there you go. Those are our thoughts, and let us know again what your choices are for these categories down in the comments. And let's move on to our second kind of segment. This is another, we talked about it earlier, another sad story. It's sad because of what's happened, but it's good in a way because it's finished now, I guess. But this is around Skull and Bones, the Ubisoft game, which has been in development hell for numerous years. It's actually, the headline is it loses its managing director if the game wasn't stalled enough or wasn't in enough danger. Then this has happened, and this is Hugues Ricoeur. He's the managing director who's been lost, I guess. This was the studio, Ubisoft Singapore. He was working on Skull and Bones, and he was sacked following a leadership audit performed over the last few weeks. Now, this information has come to light from a leaked company email which was sent to Kotaku, revealing the news. And effective immediately, Ricoeur is no longer in charge of the Singapore team. And funnily enough, we don't know whether he's still employed by Ubisoft, but he's just no longer in charge of the team. And the studio are working on Skull and Bones. They've been helping develop Assassin's Creed and Immortals Phoenix Rising, which is the game that's coming out next month. So, they've got their fingers in a few pies there. But he was one of the many people who were outed by Gamasutra in the investigation into Ubisoft's culture of abuse and misconduct back in August. So, don't know specifically if this is related, but we can kind of guess. The auditors have been in, they didn't like something, and now he's gone. So we can only speculate the fact that it's because
he was accused of something by someone else, and now an official audit has happened.
Yeah.
It's not us accusing him, it's them, like an actual fucking body who do this thing, and they've bollocked him for unknown reasons.
So we put two and two together, added to the fact that the Singapore studio in particular was blasted for its openly racist, sexist conduct, with upper management allegedly ignoring reports of abusive behaviour from members of staff. I'm reading this from the article in PC Gamer, by the way. This is not me saying this. Ricoeur himself was accused of sexual harassment by multiple sources, with Kotaku's own sources telling of a man whose work behaviour included, quotes, bullying, demeaning comments, and retaliatory action. And then it also says the email didn't clarify whether Ricoeur had been dismissed from Ubisoft entirely. I've already read that, but so it's, in summary, not a good sign for the game itself. For those of you who are interested in Skull and Bones, it was originally due to come out in 2018. It's not happening anytime soon by the sounds of it. We did get an update in July to say why was the game so, why is it so delayed? And in July, we learned that the game had undergone a drastic rework into a Fortnite-style live service game. Oh, yes, that's exactly the type of game that we're looking for, right?
I said earlier that if you want to do a live service, you should try and emulate what Fortnite does. But that doesn't mean I fucking want a live service.
Yeah,
me personally,
give us a good pirate game.
No one really likes them. Just give me a solid fucking pirate game.
At the very least, it's not. At the very least, it's not going to be another Ubisoft open world single player grind-a-thon type of game.
Perhaps, but it might just be the exact same thing as that with multiplayer shoved in.
Maybe. Maybe. That's all the update is, basically. Just one article from PC Gamer. This guy lost his job because he's probably been accused of sexual harassment, probably because he's been accused of sexual harassment, blah, 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 blah. And Skull and Bones is in limbo. So if you're expecting that game, it's bad news, son. And with that, we are going to move on then to the next segment, which is the quiz and questions segment. Before we get started with that, though, I don't actually, we're going to have to do the quiz. I failed to prepare. Let me just do this. Can you keep people entertained for like 5 seconds, Henry?
What would you want me to do? Fucking juggle?
Can you juggle?
No,
you can't.
I can't juggle.
Well, say something interesting and to keep him. I'm going to be like 2 seconds.
No, right, I can rant about fucking Assassin's Creed or something. Right, okay, so let's fill some time talking about this game. I like the game in on balance. It's I'm not even going to say it's good. I'm not sure it is good. I think I like it. The first few hours you're in Norway, it's all like grand and there's snow everywhere. It's quite epic. That's great. I spent hours there, like 6 hours in that section, and then you get the title card of Assassin's Creed comes up. Then you go to England and you do what you got to do. Literally for the first half, but like 30 odd hours, I was like, this is good. This is a good, solid game. And then it just goes on and on and on. And then on the topic of like, is it too long? It's a case of, as I touched on earlier, it doesn't get better. It's the same like level of quality. You do the raids, you do the sieges, they're pretty cool. The combat is hit and miss. I still think it's way better than it was in Odyssey, because when I hit people, it actually seems to do damage. But you're kind of like ice skating over the place, and it's very animation driven. But you're doing all that for like twice the amount of time, and then by the end, you just want to shoot yourself.
All right.
That's how I felt.
Thanks for that, Henry. You totally filled in that.
Well, there you go.
There you go. Commentator's nightmare. But anyway, This week we've had one sign up. Like I said, everyone who supports us is an absolute godsend for us because it helps us continue this content. So Jabba is the new sign up this week. He's pledged $1 a month. If everybody who watched or liked our content give us $1, we wouldn't have to ask for support from anybody. We wouldn't have to worry about AdSense or anything. We really appreciate every single dollar that gets pledged. So Jabba, you get our full thank you for that. So if you do want to support us, head over to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming, and you can sign up for as little as $1 a month. You get early access to this podcast, as well as get to ask us questions for the podcast, and you get the warm, fuzzy feeling of knowing that you've helped continue our content. So thank you very much to everyone who does support us. With that said, everything all that out of the way now, let's move on to the quiz and the questions. So first up, the quiz by Metalshark, and I'm reading this week. It's up you in the hot seat, Henry. Welcome one and all to this week's Who Wants to Be a Gambling Know-It-All, the Game Awards special with your host Gaz and special guest Henry. Well, hopefully we haven't gone over too many of the answers.
Oh no,
we didn't pre-read this, did we? We didn't pre-read this at all. Insert this week's Monkia Cooper. Okay, that was host of the year. Wild applause. It's a tough quiz. After the rather evil one for Gaz's last samurai, it's going to be even easier if they're basically asking the questions that we've just answered. So we've got lifelines.
I've probably forgotten.
We've got lifelines 50-50. We've got Ask Gaz or Ask Alexa or any available audio assistant, but only use their audible response, or ask.com without following links if none are available. So we've kind of changed it this week. We've got not Google anymore, not a 3-word Google. We've got Ask Alexa. Have you got Alexa?
Oh, my Alexa's in there, so I'll try. I think I've got some Google Assistant on my phone, so I'll use that. Right.
Okay. There are questions. We literally have just spoilt this quiz by answering everything. So we'll see how good your memory is, Henry.
How bad is it? Is it?
Oh, this 2019 is... it's only a couple of them.
It's based on previous years, isn't it?
We read out 2019's, but there's only 2 questions for 2019. Yeah. So, we only spoiled 2 of them. So you get an easy ride again this week, Henry. And apologies for not pre-reading this, Metalshark. We could have totally avoided this bad situation. But anyway, question number 1. Which game won the 2016 award for the best music/sound design? It's funny how they lumped both of those categories in together then, but it's separate categories this time. So was it A, Thumper, B, Inside, C, Doom, or D, Battlefield 1? You can use a 50-50. You can ask me.
He's extended the answers now.
Yeah.
So that they're longer than the...
he's put an anti-cheat code.
To unveil the answer. Yeah, basically, yeah.
He's put an anti-cheat.
Realistically, the 2 options... I've not played Thumper. I've played Inside. Inside's brilliant, but I wouldn't say it has particularly noteworthy music or sound design. It's got to be between Doom and Battlefield. Battlefield, not because of music, but because of sound design, like we said with Call of Duty. It sounds like a war with cool sounding guns and stuff. Well, I'm going to give it to Doom. It has to be Doom. I'm pretty sure Mick Gordon won every audio award, every award ceremony for that game.
Well, you give it to Doom. However, Jeff Keighley, he also gave it to Doom. Correct. That's 1 out of 1. Setting the you're getting the trend going early. You did get 10 out of 10 in your last outing, so no pressure or anything. Question number 2: Who won 2019's best role-playing game? Come on, Henry. I told you this.
Well, we literally just mentioned that, and I'm fairly confident it was Disco Elysium by... Now, I don't know how you pronounce the developer's name, because it's ZA/UM. So is it Zaum, or do you just say
Zaum.
ZAUM?
Zaum. I say Zaum.
Zaum.
I didn't even read out the...
Zaum. Sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Zaum.
Zaum. For all the other... everyone else who is wondering what the other options are... A, Disco Elysium. B, Capcom with Monster Hunter World. C, Square Enix with Kingdom Hearts 3. Or D, Bethesda with Skyrim re-release for the smart fridge/freezer, which is obviously a funny little nugget in there. But yeah, the answer was Disco Elysium. Correct. We did that without even knowing what the... Because it's got to be easy because it's Henry's turn. That's why. Number 3. 2 for 2. Who won best ongoing game last year? World of Warcraft, Fortnite, a Ubisoft open world title that no one has bothered actually finishing, or D, Destiny 2? Again, I think I spoke this earlier.
I think we did, and I'm pretty sure it was Fortnite. Although I think didn't World of Warcraft do their like big relaunch? What was it, like World of Warcraft Classic or something, which I know was popular. So that would be like a second choice. It's sure as shit's not going to be Destiny. Destiny's always nominated, but always the bridesmaid, never the bride. I'm going to go Fortnite.
It was Fortnite, and considering I answered 2 of these for you already earlier, you've got 3 for 3. But let's move on. Question 4. Who won 2018's best sports/racing game? Was it A, FIFA 19, B, Mario Tennis Aces, C, Forza Horizon 4, or D, Pro Evo Soccer 2019?
My instinct tells me Forza Horizon 4 because it's meant to be very popular as racing games go, but I'm not up to date with any sort of sports games really, so I'm just going to go with that. Why not?
Forza Horizon 4 is a good guess. That's 4 out of 4 correct. Let's move on to question 5. What game got the award for best fighting game in 2018? Was it A, Street Fighter 5, B, Injustice 2, C, Dragon Ball Fighters, D, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate?
I honestly can't remember, but if it's not Smash Ultimate, I'm going to be really pissed. But I'm not sure it qualified. Because I think it was in the next year's list. Because it was December 2018, I think, so I don't think it qualified. I don't know. I don't think it's Smash Ultimate, but it should be. Fuck. Wait, what number is this? This is 5. What are my lifelines? 50-50. Ask Alexa, and what was the other one? Ask you.
Yeah, ask Alexa or ask me, yeah. I mean, you can pick my brain on the best fighting game in 2018 if you like. I wouldn't recommend it.
I think it's possibly... I don't think it'll be Dragon Ball Fighters, although that is a good game. Maybe Injustice 2, because that's good, but Street Fighter it's a classic, it's a legacy franchise. Can I 50-50 it?
All right, 50-50. You've either got A, Street Fighter 5, or C, Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
Okay. But then again, Dragon Ball Fighter Z is really good. Fuck it, Street Fighter. Let's go Street Fighter.
The answer is Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
Shit.
Unlucky. And
well, I'm quite happy that qualified because it's a good game.
Funny enough,
and it's much more original.
Metalshark states that A to D, they were the winners for 2016 to 2019 respectively. Yeah. So Street Fighter 5 won in 2016, Injustice 2 2017, Dragon Ball Fighter Z in 2018, and you were right about Super Smash Bros. Not being in this category because it was the winner in 2019. There you go.
Very well.
There you go. You got one wrong, but you did get one wrong when you got 10 out of 10. You got double. You got double for correcting Metalshark's answer in one of the weeks. So that could still happen. Who knows when I'm the host? Anything goes. 6th question then. What awards was Death Stranding not nominated for? Oh, you can kind of work this out. A, Games for Impact. B, Best Audio Design. C, Best Art Direction. Or D, Best Narrative.
Fuck, because it could arguably qualify for any of those. Games for Impact, because it's got this like pro-social, pro-like human idea of like connecting people. Best Audio because, well, it had the music one before, and it depends on in this year if they've lumped audio and music together. Audio, I don't think it does anything particularly special. Art Direction, yeah, it looks good. It's a very pretty, like high graphical fidelity kind of game. Not that much in terms of style though, because it's very like walking through nature, and there's not much else going on. Best Narrative, it fucking better not have got that because it was Hideo Kojima doing what he does.
The question is though,
I could
what award was Death Stranding not nominated for?
Yeah, I think it might not have got nominated for audio design.
Okay, it was not. That's your answer, right? The game was not nominated for Games for Impact.
Oh, really? Well,
it wasn't.
It was nominated for audio design. Why? Should nominate it for Impact because it.
I'd like to recheck the tape, but I'm pretty sure that I did state that Death Stranding was nominated for Best Audio Design and
probably.
Art Direction Narrative. So I think your memory let you down there, Henry.
Well, often when I hear Death Stranding, my eyes kind of roll over. It's like, oh god, not again.
Okay.
I don't even hate the game. I just can't be arsed with it.
4 from 6 is your score. And the next question is number 7. In 2018, Celeste won the Games for Impact Award. Who was the developer? Was it A, Don't Nod, B, Mountains, C, Matt Makes Games, or D, White Owls?
I have absolutely no idea. I've not played Celeste. I know it's not Don't Nod, because they do fucking, what's the one? It's the social teenager-y one. Like Life is Strange.
Yeah.
They did Life is Strange, right? And they did Vampire as well. The others, I mean, it's just a total shot in the dark. How many questions have I got left?
3. You've used one
So I could probably,
lifeline.
right, I'm not going to look at the other questions because that will influence what I do. What I can ask you,
Yeah.
and you've played Celeste, right? I think.
I have.
Don't answer that because that's not me answering.
No, I've played it.
Okay. And the other one is ask Google Assistant or whatever. Fuck it. Yeah, I'll ask you. Do you know who the developer is of Celeste?
Okay. Take this.
No,
take this as you want it. But 2018 Celeste was made by Matt Makes Games.
Take it how I want it.
Take it as you will. That's my answer.
Oh, right, okay.
That's my answer.
I thought you meant it was open to interpretation. I was like, well, that's an explicit answer. Okay, yeah, I'll go with what you say. Matt Makes Games made Celeste.
Obviously, he did because I knew it. Matt Makes Games was the creator of Celeste. So that's 5 from 7. Let's move on to question 8. What other award did Celeste win that year? A, Game of the Year. B, Best Independent Game. C, Best Music/Score. Or D, Best Narrative.
So when was it? 2018.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't get Game of the Year because 2018's Game of the Year was God of War. Best indie game's a solid shout. Music score, I have no idea. I don't know what it sounds like. A narrative, it's one of these like pro mental health, pro like self-love kind of narratives, I guess. But again, I've not played it, so I don't really know. Let's go indie game. Best indie game
Is correct. Well done. That's a good guess. Best indie game. That is 6 from 8. 9th question. What game was not announced in 2017? What game was not announced in 2017? Was it not A, Soul Calibur 6? Was it not Bayonetta 3? Was it PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds or The Outer Worlds? What game was not announced in 2017? So 3 of them were, 1 of them was not announced.
Isn't Bayonetta 3 technically still not announced, or am I making that up? Or is it one of those where they've announced it but they haven't done anything else? They haven't said anything else. Outer Worlds, that I'm pretty sure debuted at the Game Awards, I think, of 2018, maybe. PUBG, I assumed it was older than 2017, but it could not be. And Soul Calibur, what's that, 6? Not a fucking clue. Now, I've got one more question after this. Can I ask Google? Right, I'll ask my Google Assistant something. Well, maybe. It depends on how I can word the question, because this might not.
It's important how you word it, right?
So really, it's going to have to be... It's going to check whether my answer is right or wrong, really. Because I'll have to ask, when was blank announced? But is Google even going to understand what announced means? It's not going to understand what announced means. It's going to be like, The Outer Worlds was released in blah, blah, blah.
You never know.
Nah, fuck it. I'll guess Outer Worlds. I'll take a guess and I'll save my lifeline for the next one.
All right, the guess is a good guess. The answer is Outer Worlds. It was not announced in 2017. You have now 7 from 9.
Can I find out when it was announced, see if I'm right?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was Game Awards. The Outer Worlds. Let's go to the wiki page. I'm fairly sure. Right, what does wiki have to say? If my internet decides not to be a little bitch. Released in October 2019, blah, blah, blah. Let's find in page for announce. No, or about finding page for 2018? Yeah, announced at the Game Awards 2018. Booyah.
There you go. Well
Double right.
done. So the very last question then to win a score of 8 this week is as follows. Who won Best Performance in 2018? Was it A, Brian Deckard as Connor in Detroit Become Human? Was it B, Christopher Judge as Kratos in God of War? Was it C, Yuri Lowenthal as Spider-Man in Marvel's Spider-Man? Or was it D, Roger Clark as Arthur Morgan in Red Dead Redemption 2?
I'm fairly sure it was Arthur Morgan. And once again, I don't... No, wait. Did that come out in 2018? Yeah, it didn't come out last year. Yeah.
We 100% covered this in a podcast at the time.
So I'm pretty sure I would have given it to Chris Judge for God of War because I would have given God of War everything. Yuri Lowenthal was a good shout as well. Brian Deckard. Did Detroit come out in 2018? Yeah. I reckon it might be Roger Clark's Arthur Morgan, but I think I might as well use my lifeline. I just need to figure out how to word it. Who won Best Performance in 2018 at the Game Awards? Would Google understand that, or is it just going to be like just the Oscar Best? I would
go Game Awards Best Performance 2018. That's what I would search.
All right. Yeah. Well, how do I even get fucking Google Assistant to work? I'll turn my volume up. Oh, shut up. Right. Well, I'll do a test first. This is a test run.
Is that allowed? Can I get?
Right. No, to make sure it works. Fucking. All right. Why is it not opening? I'll ask it as like a silly question. Okay. Google, who is playing Batman?
According to The Verge, Robert Pattinson is the new Batman, and thanks to a new teaser, we just got a first look at what he looks like in the famous Batsuit.
Okay, that works.
Matt Reeves.
All right, that's enough. That's enough. Thank you. Right, it's because you hear that and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds good.
Okay, what's it? Game Awards 2018 Best Performance. Game Awards 2018 Best Performance.
Here's a summary from Forbes. Best Performance. Brian Deckard as Connor, Detroit, Become Human. Christopher Judge as Kratos, God of War. Melisanthe Mahu as Cassandra, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Roger Clark as Arthur Morgan, Red Dead Redemption 2. And more.
That didn't help.
You didn't tell me you fucking won.
That didn't help.
Shit a brick.
And more. That literally didn't help at all.
Alright. Well, that was quite a fun little bonus section. I'll go Roger Clark. I'll go with my instinct.
Is the correct answer. And I remember being devoed because I'd met and interviewed Brian Deckard that same year in September, and he didn't win. And it was my favourite game of that year, Detroit Become Human, and he didn't win, and I was devoed. And I remember it because it was Arthur Morgan. But yeah, you were right. You won 8, or a score of 8 from 10 this week, which is still better than what I did last week. Considering we went...
That was trickier than I thought it would be.
It was quite tricky. It's not as easy as the previous week. I'll grant you. You did well. That's for sure. You got a couple of good guesses and a solid score there, Henry. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you must go to Metalshark as well for, as always, providing us such a entertaining quiz as you do, putting the time and effort in. Thanks very much, dude. Really appreciate that. We've got 2 other questions from the community this week, so not that many. So for those of you who do want to ask a question, get them in, innit? Just get them in. Get them in now. Just think about it. Stop, pause the tape, get them in. We'll have enough for next week then. Okay, let's do the first one. Do you want to do that?
Okay, this is from Durlock Sergio. As a fellow Dungeons & Dragons player, this is a question for Henry. If you could ask for a D&D video game, what genre or style would it be? But wait, there is more. It can't be a third-person or isometric RPG. We have already seen them. For example, you could keep the RPG elements of the game but make an FPS or whatever, throw the RPG out the window and make a fighting game, for example. Okay, so are we talking based on the world and the rules of Dungeons & Dragons? Because stuff like Baldur's Gate is basically that. As you say, it's an isometric third-person RPG. I mean, my go-to answer for most of these kinds of questions, where if you could make a video game with X, Y, Z, it's probably going to be a Star Wars thing. Or like, not necessarily even Star Wars though. I think like a sci-fi space RPG, Dungeons and Dragons type RPG, but where like your party is a crew on a ship. And you can do like different roles, like basic, like you have a pilot person and then like an engineer or whatever, and a medic. I think that could be really cool. In terms of like genre, like third-person isometric RPG type thing, probably just like a pretty standard third-person action adventure, probably like over-the-shoulder kind of camera angle. Kind of Mass Effect is that, but I think dirtier, more like a Millennium Falcon crew, you know, like not some fancy military state-of-the-art ship. It's just some dingy little thing that can barely make it across the galaxy. I think that could be quite fun.
That sounds good to me.
But I'm very new to Dungeons and Dragons anyway. I'm still an ickle baby, learning my step, learning the way.
Yeah. So thank you for that question, Mr. Durlock, and a solid answer there, Henry. The next question, Vientiscus Prime. If you had to choose between one or the other, which would you pick? Of reliable game mechanics that you already enjoy, or new mechanics or new combinations of mechanics that you haven't tried before? What about if it weren't a permanent choice? When would you choose one and when would you choose the other? Right.
I mean, I'd almost always go for new mechanics and new combinations because it...
Try again.
I'd almost always go for new mechanics and new combos in virtually any game, because if I don't like it, I've still got the old one that I can go back to. As you say, it's not a permanent choice. So if any time there's a new game, like a new release, especially a new IP, give me new stuff, new mechanics, new that. And then if it's shit, I can just be like, well, fuck that. I'm going to go back and play what I know, what's familiar.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question, as always, from Bianca, because a reliable game mechanics you already enjoy, or new mechanics combination that you haven't tried before. There's time and place to try new stuff. Reliable game mechanics that you already enjoy. I mean, let's take The Last of Us Part 2, right? Or The Last of Us Part 1. We know the mechanics in The Last of Us Part 1. We enjoyed them. They weren't the bad. Last of Us Part 2 did do enough to innovate. Were the mechanics
I don't
better?
think so.
Would we have preferred new mechanics, new combinations of mechanics in the game?
I think I would have.
So,
well, I don't mean like a total reinvention, but I mean, I suppose that maybe is the question.
you could throw the rope, like, right? You know what I mean? That's the new mechanic,
which they'd used like once.
Yeah.
With all this fancy rope physics, which some poor soul probably crunched the living daylights out of to make. But I think one thing I do really like about Last of Us 2 in terms of gameplay is there's a lot of different ways to tackle the situation, or like approach the environments. The level design's really good, but I don't think you've got enough options in how you can really kill people, and there's less element of choice. And I guess that's kind of Naughty Dog's thing, because it's like they want you to do it their way down this corridor.
Yeah.
But new mechanics and new ways of doing things, I will 9 times out of 10 prefer. You're absolutely right. There every so often there's a time and a place for the old reliables. But
yeah, that's true. I think that it is risky to come up with new game mechanics, because people know and like certain.
If it was easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah, exactly. And there's only a certain amount of imagination out there. You know what I mean? And once you've created a certain amount of mechanics, you've got to really push yourself to think of a new mechanic in the game these days, when so many of them have been done before. But definitely.
And then there's your imagination being limited by your actual ability to like make it happen.
Yeah.
Whether that's by your skill set or your equipment and hardware.
I almost always prefer new game mechanics, even if they fail. Right? I mean, the game that's just based on just a single mechanic that I really loved was Her Story, right? It's just a single thing that you do in this game where you've got control of a database which only returns the top 6 results, and you put a search term in. That's all you do the whole game. That's all you do. Type in a search term, press enter. One mechanic that whole entire game pivots on or relies on, and the game is awesome. It is really a standout game that I will remember for the experience that it gave me. And I think that not many game designers these days think in those ways, think inventively like that, and try and give you an experience that isn't just third person action, run camera over the shoulder. Oh, you've got to mash the button to kill a guy, and you've got to like press the button to get the loot, and then you've got to put the loot in your inventory, and you've got to press the button to kill the guy. It's like just there's so many games that do that. We've got enough of them. We have got enough of them. Give us something new. I mean, I would almost 100%, just for the sake of not being bored with another open world Assassin's Creed or Ubisoft game or whatever. Give us new mechanics. Try something new. We'll reward it.
It's one thing that's actually kind of annoyed me playing Gears Tactics, thinking like, because as you require new recruits, you get new stuff for your guns and you can upgrade them and there's different stat bonuses and stuff. And I'm like, fuck, I just wish that was in Gears 5, because I really like Gears 5, but mechanically it's exactly the same as all the other ones. There's like virtually no innovation. It goes like sort of open world for a little bit, but it's still the same pop and shop covered shooting that it always has been. But if I could have just a little bit of progression, a little bit something, I think that game would have been so much better. I still really like it, but it's just come on, you can do it. I believe.
There you go. That's the end of our. That's it. That's a short one this week, but those are the questions. Thanks to everybody, Durlock or Sergio, Vietnamese Prime, and Metalshark for contributing. Like I said, if you got any questions for next week, leave them in the podcast questions channel on the Discord, and we will ask them for you next week, or answer for them next week. So with that done, let's move on to our next segment, which is the Triggered Fanboy Comment of the Week. All right, Henry, what have you got for us?
So it's not like super triggered, but I think it's just a fun little guy who
got upset.
Just has to, And there was another one like this, and I even brought it up in the Discord last time. And it's on last week's podcast where we compared and contrasted the PS5 and Series X reviews. And it's a point to note, if you haven't watched that one, neither of us own either of them. We're just talking about other it's all other people's opinions, and we're bringing the reviews together, review roundups. This guy comes in, Kevin Duffy, getting worse and worse. Not and, it's just worse and worse. Time to unsub. Thanks for the times you were fun. I honestly don't understand what we possibly could have done wrong. But fortunately, Cowden, who is a regular commenter, comes in, hey, get back here, wanker. You can't just leave. It's PGG for life. And that follow-up comment is honestly part of the reason I put this in here. But yeah, so apparently we did something to upset this chap. He got one like, potentially a self-like, but also potentially from this chap who I can't seem to find. Where is he? I'm trying to find in page because he accused us. I want the exact. Here we go. Speedy. This guy called Speedy. Clearly sponsored by Sony. Okay. In what fucking world were we sponsored by Sony when we're talking about their reviews of the thing, and then immediately after it talking about the Xbox reviews? If we were sponsored by Sony, we would actually have the fucking console. We would be talking about it. I would certainly be shilling for it. If Sony sent me a PS5 for free, I would be like, yes, this is the best thing. Xbox can suck my dick. I don't give a fuck. But no. I mean, maybe I've not seen that money, Gaz. Maybe you just hoarded a check all for yourself. Just like I've been hoarding those Ubisoft checks after they paid me to be mean about 2 of their games.
Yeah, that's it. It's all the money we make. We make shed loads of money as YouTubers just shilling out. Is essentially how we make our money these days.
And again, if they did pay for us, they are clearly bad business people because they didn't get their money's worth because we spent half the fucking video talking about their rival and talking about how it's arguably better in a number of respects.
Yeah, so it wasn't a strong. Let's be honest. It wasn't a strong week for Triggered Fan. We weren't triggered.
It's not.
We weren't triggering enough. Okay, so I kind of got one that was kind of triggered. Kind of. VMAX said, "Game too long. Please shut the fuck up. You are the reason for devs to make excuse for short games. It's not a movie." I mean, that's kind of triggered. He tells us to shut the fuck up.
He's not the only one who said that. So I imagine this is on the review, right?
Assassin's Creed Valhalla review, yeah.
So I've got another one. This was one I was looking for earlier, which is sort of on the same length. Darson 100. Sorry, you completely lost me when you said it was too long. Try to review from a gamer's perspective rather than someone trying to plow through to get a job done. Did you fucking miss the point, homie? My dog, my G. Did you fucking miss it? When right at the beginning I said this is going to affect my opinion on it. I understand, and I even said something like, this is probably going to affect my opinion on it because I'm reviewing it for like a specific time period. But many of you are going to like it because there's loads of content to sink your teeth into. I'm paraphrasing myself. I can't fucking remember what I said. It was a week ago or whatever. You're a dipshit. You don't listen. You people don't pay attention to anything you're hearing. You just hear a word and lose your fucking little pee-pee brain minds.
Wow.
Like,
I thought we weren't going to get a good Triggered Fanboy reaction, but we did.
You've got me.
We got it. We got the great Triggered Fanboy
You're a
reaction.
fucking moron. Well, I'm sure maybe you're a nice guy. Maybe you're actually quite smart. But that's a dumb fucking comment because you didn't listen to what I said.
I mean, absolutely.
And the game is too long. And you know what? It's just my opinion, man.
Yeah, I mean, him not listening to you aside, right? Him not listening to you aside and being an idiot for not, you completely said it at the start. Yeah, my opinion is, is going to be because I played it in a short space of time. However, the game itself, if it's grindy or not, would affect whether it's too long. The game can objectively still be too long, even though you want to play. I mean, the way I see it is that people want to get value for the money for their 60 quid or however much they spend on a game. If they'd rather a game be 100 hours because they can sit there with fresh content for that 100 hours than it be 40 hours. But in anybody who's not looking for that value for money, value for their time is more important for me, right? Yeah. Value for time is totally more important. I'd rather have like a decent, anything in decent quality over quantity is the expression, right? You want something that's good for the duration that you've got it, rather than something that's long and just mediocre. It doesn't make sense.
It's not like I'm saying a 20-hour game is too long. It's not like I'm saying even a 30-hour game. It was fucking like 80 hours I played the game with a decent bit of side questing and stuff. Without that, it's probably between 60 and 70 for like just like critical path. That's too long if you're just doing the same shit over and over again.
One of my bugbears is games that are too long for the sake of it, right? I don't play games to review them. I don't do the reviews on PGG. Henry does the reviews. I just talk shit about some games sometimes on a podcast. That's all I do, right? And I actively avoid games that are too long. I play games as a gamer is what I'm trying to say. Just like one of the comments was, do it from a gamer's point of view. I haven't got all hours of that godsend to waste my time playing 60, 70, 80 hour games every single week. I mean, I actively avoid... I couldn't finish Red Dead Redemption 2. I think that game is too long. It's too long, and it just wasn't enjoyable. Red Dead Redemption 1 is a superior game. I don't care what you say. Oh, the graphics, oh, the gameplay. I don't care. I don't care what you think. Red Dead Redemption 1 is better than Red Dead Redemption 2 because Red Dead Redemption 2 is too freaking long. That's just the...
I think is, what if I hadn't played the game for review, and if I wasn't playing it to review it, I still wouldn't have finished it. Because I wouldn't have got it early, and I wouldn't have been able to start it early. I would still be playing it through this week, because I'd be, just playing it at like a normal pace. Although I normally play games quite intensely anyway. I kind of binge, but it would still fucking be too long, and I would just come to that conclusion 3 weeks later, And then funnily enough, I've got another comment on this, which is it's along the same lines, but it's less mean. But it's putting words in my mouth. It's misappropriating my opinion on things. This is from John Woo. He hated the constant loot in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but moved, I assume you mean loved, The Witcher 3, which had even more useless loot. And wasn't The Witcher 3 way longer than this game, yet you thought this game was too long? Come on, man. Okay, well, there's a lot of things there. Assassin's Creed Odyssey does have pointless loot, and I hated it. It's because I don't like loot-based games. The Witcher 3 isn't a loot-based game. It's more like a standard RPG in the sense you get stuff. It's still technically loot, but it's not like You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I assume
absolutely.
most people know. It's not quote unquote loot. And The Witcher 3 is too long, in my opinion. It's too long. Like the amount of time.
You said it now, Henry.
I still
you
like
have
it.
said it.
I don't give a shit. I finished it and I enjoyed it, and I've started the second playthrough. Well, earlier this year, but who knows? But it's too long. If I'm playing a game and I'm sitting there and I'm not like constantly engaged, I'm gonna keep playing. I'm not saying like my attention is gonna completely go elsewhere. But like if I'm sitting there like, oh come on now, like, and it's just going on and on and on, and it's that's too long, in my opinion. So like because it's built like you go to a place, you speak to someone, you're like, oh, can you do this for me? I'll do that for you if you go and do this. And like, okay. And then that next person's like, I'll do this for you if you go and do this. And it just splinters out into this tree. And it can be a pain in the ass. Like doing it through, what's the main area called at the beginning? After White Orchard. Is it Velen? Velen and Novigrad. That's all cool. So I did all that. I thought that was great. Then I went to Skellige. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I can fucking do it again. Do this same kind of rinse and repeat. The story's great. All the dialogue-y shit and character interactions, that's all awesome. But in terms of gameplay, I was just like, okay, this is too much now. So you're misappropriating what I'm saying. The Witcher 3 is too long. I still really like the game, but it could have done with a little bit of fat trimming.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion. And that's not to fucking say that all games need to be short. That's not what I said.
Yeah.
That's not what this guy is saying either, but it's the kind of general tone of people who say no games are too long. Some games are too long. And it's all up to your fucking personal perspective.
I guess it matters whether it's a critical issue, right? I mean, a game which you've been introduced to the mechanics and the gameplay within the first 5-10 hours. A game which stays like that for the remaining 60 or 70 hours. Yeah. You could easily argue that that's a critical failure in the game. That you're just doing learning new special moves or whatever, and being a Viking all over again.
Witcher 3 isn't longer. Main path, I don't think, isn't longer than Assassin's Creed. And with The Witcher 3, you're constantly meeting new characters and having a much more active role in the story.
And it's not just choice. It's just like it's a bunch of areas in the Ubisoft games, right, that you've got to liberate, and that's just the formula, right? Once you liberate one, you've got to go over there, liberate that bit. That's not like what The Witcher is, right? That's the Ubisoft formula, which makes it repetitive and it makes it a flaw for the game to be too long, because you're just literally repeating yourself. Whereas The Witcher 3 is not like that.
If you want to boil The Witcher 3 story down to, like, what's the main quest? It's finding Ciri. And then all the side quests happen because you find these people who are like, I'll tell you where she is if you do these fucking 5-10 hours worth of shit for me. That's fine. But Assassin's Creed's main story is just build your settlement and do the game. It's go to these areas and, it's not technically liberating in this, but it's the exact same thing. They're becoming your allies. It's still basically liberating. That's the main story of it. It's just do this a bunch of times. There's a little bit of this other story with your brother and this whole extra thing, but that's barely there. Like every sort of 5-10 hours, you'll get like a little sprinkling of it, and something interesting will happen. But oh, that's cool. And it's like, all right, well now go chat to these 3 kingdoms, each of which has got like a 4-hour quest line that you've got to handle, and it's too fucking long. There's no payoff. And like I said, it doesn't get better. You don't learn new things. You don't get new abilities. Well, you do, or like you do little, but it's not
enough. Henry has spoken. There you have it. The game is too long.
We've been on this for too long. This fucking segment, this is too long.
Okay, I've got another comment, which is my favourite comment of the week. And this goes to Jason Beneke on last week's podcast. Gaz's Welsh intro is one of this podcast's most distinguishing characteristics, and I've been listening since day one. I always appreciate it when people incorporate pieces of their own culture into the work they do. Thumbs up emoji. And he continues, Gaz has his Welsh language, and Henry has that stupid haircut. That was absolutely brutal, and I love it. Thank you, Jason. I will not deny it. I have nothing to rebuttal with.
Wow. You're absolutely right.
I just broke the microphone because I clapped so loud. But
I think it's in that episode, which was last week, right? I'm pretty sure I'm wearing a hat. 9 times out of 10 when I'm wearing a hat, I've said this before, that's absolutely nothing to do with like fashion or style, because fucking look at me, I don't know anything about that. It's because I can't be asked to have my hair flopping about. Or like today I've put some like product in it to get out of the way. If I'm wearing a hat, it's because it's the lazy option, it's the easy option, or I'm unshowered. Today I am clean, although I won't be anymore.
Your hair isn't that bad, Henry. He was just burning you for the sake of it because it sounded funny. No need to get defensive, man. Your hair is fine.
That's the thing.
Your hair
I
is
honestly
fine,
do not mind because I don't give a shit.
I don't care. Okay, let's.
I don't care. Why do you care that I care? I don't care.
Nobody cares. God. Nobody cares. Let's move on. Have you got another comment?
Yes, so this one, oh fuck, where's it gone? I need to stop losing the comments I've got in front of me. Okay, this one I like because it is a positive one. And every now and then, I don't talk about the positive ones enough. I mean, that was sort of half positive. It was positive to you.
It was very positive. It was as positive as we need it.
Well, this one's a bit more positive as well. And I think it's also on last week's podcast from Mad26Man26. It's funny, Henry. I don't agree with you on a few reviews, but to suggest you are paid off, lol, maybe different opinions on things, but regardless, I appreciate your point of view. Excuse me. I check many reviews prior to a purchase and get used to reviewers so I can understand their preferences or bias better. People getting mad because they disagree, shaking my head. Good show, guys. Thank you. See, it's simple.
It's good.
The whole, oh, this is a paid review. Now, what you really mean to say is because you disagree with me, it must be paid. The only way that anyone could possibly entertain an idea that is different to mine, they must be paid. People can't possibly have a difference of opinion that they came to on their own.
It's the only rational explanation.
It's only logical, as Spock would say, and I don't even watch Star Trek, so I don't know if that reference is correct.
Yeah, no, it is correct. That's fine. Okay, I've got the most thought-provoking comment of the week here, and this was on your study says Animal Crossing makes you happier. So this is a bit of a chunky one, but Peter Clark commented, I'm both a gamer and an occupational therapist specializing in mental health, so I want to believe gaming is good. But the study is deeply flawed. It uses people who already value computer/console games and asks them whether they value computer games. So of course, the response is positive. I know what they're trying to do, which is debunk the bullshit that games is bad for you, and I applaud that. However, I would like to see a bunch of non-gamers play something and gather data for that. Until that happens, I don't really see how we can challenge the, quotes, video games is bad narrative. That's a very reasonable and well thought out
Absolutely
comment.
Right. And the thing is, that criticisms like that are in the study.
Yeah.
It's quite self-critical, being like, the only reason any of our findings are remotely relevant is because everything else is such trash. Yeah. We're like a little bit trash. Everything else is real trash. So yeah, you're totally right. We need more research is always the answer for pretty much it. Every single research paper will always have a bit in there saying more research is required, more study is required. But yeah, you're totally right.
And it's a useful criticism as well in order to, you know, for the people who conduct this research to think, well, yeah, you might have a point there. Next time we're going to do it like this, and maybe it's more valid then. The findings are even better if we do it like that. So I like that comment because there's another one who chimed in as well who worked in the field of psychology, and he, again, it was another same type of comment where it's like, well, you can't really take this study at face value because it's a little bit biased, but it's good. It's interesting to see things from both perspectives, whether we agree or not.
Definitely. Yeah, I've got another one on a similar note, but kind of like the opposite. He might have deleted it because I can't seem to find it, but it was quite funny because it was just like so wrong. But okay, here we go. Mihir Kittis, forgive me if that's incorrect. Stop quoting research papers as facts which are not peer reviewed at 20 seconds. It clearly states that the work has not been peer reviewed. So when I'm editing, everything you're seeing is there because I put it there. Like, I put that there deliberately. It's the front page of the research. It's got its fancy title, like a study into the effects of video games on your mental health or something like that. All of the authors, like Andrew Brzbilski and a few other people. And then at the bottom, it says, this study has not been peer reviewed. I put it there so that you can fucking see it. And so that's one part of his thing, which is like, okay, yeah, I know what you're saying. I actually agree. You just missed the part that I did that deliberately. But also, all of the statements I used about the study are stuff like, this study says, or an Oxford University professor has found. It's not my findings. I'm not claiming anything. This is what the study says. I'm not saying that is a fact or not. That's what it is. I mean, I went to uni. Every single essay I've ever written, you're told to have that caveat. 'Cause it's like, nothing you are saying here is a fact. It's not your research. It's theirs. They found it. It may or may not be true. That's irrelevant. So, yeah, you're wrong, buddy. And I kind of ratioed him a bit. He got 2 likes. I got 5. So
put him in his place, didn't you, Henry? Okay.
Eat my dick.
Eat my dick is Henry's official response. This is my last comment for this week. It's quite a. I don't know what we think about this, Henry. I'm interested to hear. It's about the Cyberpunk video that you made yesterday about the next gen gameplay. 10 Swords comments, CDPR lies. The game is a current gen game with a next gen boost mode. Original release date April, well before next gen consoles, and was verbally confirmed by CDPR. This is a PS4/Xbox One X game, not a next gen game that they are having trouble dumbing down to run on current gen. I mean, my opinion on this is this dipshit has never played PC in his life, because PC completely obliterates the notion of current gen and next gen. And this game was being developed for high-end PCs, just like The Witcher 3 was, for years before even next gen was in thought of. So to say that this isn't a next gen game just because the consoles weren't about is bullshit. You haven't considered that there are...
It's PC first, isn't it?
PCs are current PCs are already beyond next-gen consoles, and that's just a fact, right? And if the current PCs can play in like ray tracing and it looks beautiful and that's what will be the yardstick. That's what people will measure against. It doesn't matter what hardware, what it looks on, and very specific bits of hardware. If you've got the best rig you could possibly have currently, and it looks and plays amazingly, that's how we will benchmark this game. Let's not make a ridiculous claim that this game will never be next-gen because it was due to release before next-gen consoles. That is a bit ridiculous. And you are, I don't know, it's just, that's just my opinion. I think this guy's just totally dumb.
Yeah. And, I mean, I don't really give a shit if the footage was next-gen or not. It technically is running on a next-gen system, but, I mean, that doesn't fit in a title or a thumbnail, does it? But it's not incorrect. Although my main focus of it was the content of the footage of the V going to like a virtual brothel or whatever and asking to get fingered. That I can't be the only one who thought that, right? When he's like, yeah, I can give you a release, and one of the options is I'm looking for fingers, and it was female V. So I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Right. But anyway, I've got one more comment, technically 2, because it's the exact same comment twice, just with a couple of words changed from the same person, back to back, and unfortunately it's quite long, so I might not read all of it, but I'll try and zip through it. From living in, one word, pathetic era, second word. The 2 comments are exactly the same, apart from one begins with Cyberpunk 2077, and this is on that same video, Next Gen Cyberpunk gameplay. Then the other comment begins with Immortals Phoenix Rising, which was the other game in the thing, which is the third story about Season Pass. Okay. Cyberpunk 2077/Immortals Phoenix Rising is made for auto-aimers with 30 premium FPS doing macro transactions for cut content, giving out their personal data, and that data is being exploited by publishers to inflate their scam and keep people in the loop. Welcome to the brave, naive world. Developers said naive world can't face the facts, so they suppress and censor people, outsource their dirty work to influencers, which get high when they receive free merch. I mean, I'm waiting for free merch. If this is a dig at us, I'm waiting for the free merch to go. Free merch over free speech. Is your mind blown by how people fall for the same thing every time? It shouldn't be, because divided, singled out individuals has no chance against organized criminal entity, corporation. Corporation is an approved scam and spy business. Their approval was obtained through manufactured consent. Corporation is not the industry of manufacturing products. Corporation is the industry of manufacturing consent, as well as corporations, through governments, are harvesting our biometric data on a global scale, so they can get to know us far better than we know ourselves. They not just predict our feelings, but also manipulate our feelings and sell us anything they want, be a product as a service or a politician. Check out The Corporation, The Century of Self, Surveillance Capitalism, Stockholm Syndrome. So there's a lot going on there, and once again, the exact same comment is made again, but in reference to Immortals Phoenix Rising. And you know what I think is most funny? Is you sort of not wrong? Because yeah, corporations fucking suck, but you spewing this bullshit is so over the top. Like, yeah, we all hate corporations. Everyone knows that. But and a lot of your conspiracy stuff about, yeah, they harvest our data and use it to sell us back stuff. That's exactly what they do. But you're coming in here, Cyberpunk or Phoenix Rising is made for auto-aimers with 30 premium FPS doing macro transactions. Like, it's a long-winded way of him trying to say their game's made for idiots. And they're made for idiots because they're made by corporations and corporations exploit people. You're totally right. But this is so over the top. But importantly, our number one simp, Waves, on one of our regular commenters, comes in and says, I'll give you this. You got the pathetic part of your username right. Love it. 4 likes on that one. And then The Witcher Wiggle, once again, regular commenter. I'm pretty sure this is a patron, but I can't remember what your name is, so forgive me. Said, spitting hot fire in response to Waves there. So this anti-corporate guy is really going off on one twice.
I mean, how is he changing the world by spewing all that in the comments section on YouTube? I feel like...
That is virtue signaling.
Yeah, I just don't get it.
We joke about all the time.
I feel like if you think that you're going to make a difference by writing that on a YouTube comment, you really need psychological help yourself. I think of all the problems that there are in the world,
and to repeat it,
that you're on some sort of crusade in order to enlighten people by responding in YouTube comments. I think surely you've got enough intelligence. If you haven't got enough intelligence to realize that what you're doing is completely and utterly useless and it's not going to hit home with anybody, then maybe I'm questioning the validity of all the rest of his rationale that goes into what he's trying to say in the comment. I don't know. That's the way I always think about it. If they don't realize how stupid what they're trying to do is, then what does what they're trying to say matter? Because they I don't know.
I always love the irony, and perhaps I think everyone's a little bit of a victim of this, including us. But the irony of complaining about corporations using our data and selling us stuff while you're using YouTube, while you're using
the
Google,
biggest corporation of
Facebook,
them all. Yeah.
All of those things. You're complaining about the corporates having your data. They've got your fucking data. You're using it.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, that's all I've got for comments today.
There we go. That's all the comments for this week. Let's move on to the last section, or the second to last section, let's say. This is the bad dad joke of the week. All right, I've got one bad dad joke of the week, and it comes from Marcus Hicks, and that's all you're getting this week, Henry. There's no.
Thank goodness.
So you only have to laugh once. You only have to pretend to laugh once. Okay, here it goes. Yesterday, I decided to clean out my spice rack and all of the out-of-date herbs and spices. Sheesh! What a waste of time that was.
I mean, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good, fun, dumb pun. And Marcus Hicks, I appreciate that. I'm not going to read any more out because because Henry gets bored of them, and you probably do too. So that's it for this week, for the bad dad joke, and that's it for this week for this whole podcast. Thanks for watching all this way, or listening all this time if you have. And remember that if you do want to support the content and make sure that we persevere into the future generating content, then head over to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming, and you can support us for as little as $1 a month. You get early access to these podcasts, as well as get to ask us questions. Obviously there's a void there for questions this week. We only got 2 questions apart from the quiz, so we need questions. So sign up, ask us a question, easy. It's bish bash bosh. There you go, right? That's what they say in London, isn't it, Henry? Yeah.
I wouldn't know. Although they might fucking say it in...
You've never been to London?
Legion,
You liar. You liar.
I've been to the lots, I just don't live there. But they might
I never said you...
because none of them sound like...
Never said you lived there, Henry. I just said you've been there. Right. Anyway.
Well, you've been there.
We're going to continue to argue after this podcast goes. But for now, for today, thanks for watching. We'll see you again in the next podcast. On behalf of myself and Henry, bye for now.